Before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only and reflects my personal opinions and analysis based on years of experience in test preparation. I am not affiliated with the College Board or any of the publishing companies mentioned. Your individual results will always depend on your own effort and study habits. I remember the exact feeling. Standing in the middle of a Barnes & Noble, staring at a wall of SAT prep books. Each one was a brick 2 inches thick, with a screaming cover promising a 1630 days, or the ultimate guide to beating the SAT. They all looked the same. They all felt heavy with the weight of my entire future. I picked one, spent 150 hours that summer highlighting, drilling, and taking practice tests, and my score barely moved. I had just wasted 3 months of my life, not because I didn't work hard, but because I chose the wrong tool for the job. The single biggest mistake you can make in your SAT journey isn't messing up a math problem or misreading a passage. It's starting with the wrong book. Using a bad prep book is like trying to build a house with a screwdriver made of cheese. You can put in all the effort in the world, but you will get nowhere. This video is the guide I wish I had back then. This is your definitive, no-nonsense breakdown of the absolute best SAT prep books on the market for this year's brand new fully digital SAT. We are going to cut through all the marketing hype and the fake 5-star reviews. I'm not just going to tell you what to buy. I'm going to tell you why you should buy it, who it's for, and most importantly, how to use it as part of a winning strategy. By the end of this video, you will have a personalized shopping list and a clear roadmap that will save you hundreds of hours of wasted effort and hundreds of dollars on useless books. You will walk away with the confidence that you are investing your time and energy into the exact resources that will actually move the needle on your score. I've spent the last decade in the trenches of test prep. I've tutored hundreds of students, I've personally worked through every single book we're about to discuss, cover to cover, and I've analyzed thousands of official SAT questions. I've seen what works, what doesn't, and what's a complete waste of money. And let me tell you, this year, the stakes are higher than ever. The SAT has gone fully digital. It's a completely new test format. It's adaptive, it's shorter, and the types of questions have changed. This means that 90% of the old SAT prep books you see collecting dust on the shelf are now functionally obsolete. Using a book designed for the old paper test is like using a map of New York from 1985 to navigate the city today. The core is kind of there, but all the crucial details are wrong and you will get lost. So, how are we going to do this? We're going to break this down into 5 critical categories. First, the official must-haves, the non-negotiable resources straight from the test makers themselves. Second, the best all-in-one, the one book to rule them all if you can only get one. Third, the math specialists, the heavy hitters for turning that 650 into a perfect 800. Fourth, the reading and writing gurus, the books that will teach you how to master the nuances of the verbal section. And finally, the secret weapons, the lesser-known books that top-scoring students use to gain an edge. For each book, we'll do a deep dive. Its strengths, its weaknesses, and exactly who should be using it. Alright, let's get straight into it with the most important category of all. The official must-haves. Listen to me carefully. If you hear nothing else in this video, hear this. You cannot, you should not, and you will not effectively prepare for the SAT without using the official materials created by the College Board. Period. Full stop. Every other book on the market, no matter how good, is an imitation. They are trying to reverse engineer the test. The official materials are the test. They are the source code. Studying from anything else is like learning to play basketball by only watching actors pretend to play basketball in movies. You need to train with the real thing. So, what are these non-negotiable resources? There are 2 of them. First is the book, the official digital SAT study guide. You need to own a physical copy of this book. Why? Because inside are 4 official, full-length, linear, non-adaptive practice tests. These are real SATs written by the same people who will write your actual test. The questions are perfectly calibrated, the difficulty is spot on, and the style is authentic. You will use these tests to benchmark your progress and to deeply analyze your mistakes. But the book offers more than just the tests. It contains hundreds of official practice questions with detailed answer explanations, chapter by chapter, for every single concept tested on the exam. It walks you through the structure of the digital test, the timing, and the tools you'll use on test day, like the built-in Desmos calculator. This book is your foundation. Everything else we talk about today is a supplement to this. The second official must-have isn't a book at all. It's the College Board's Blue Book app. You download this for free onto your laptop or tablet. This is the holy grail. The Blue Book app is the actual software you will use on test day. It contains 4 additional official practice tests, and these ones are adaptive just like the real thing. This is crucial. The digital SAT is a multi-stage adaptive test, meaning how you do on the first module of the math section determines whether you get an easier or a harder second module. The Bluebook app is the only place in the world where you can experience this adaptive format officially. Taking these practice tests in the Bluebook app builds what I call testing fluency. You get comfortable with the interface, the timing, the flagging tool, and the calculator. On test day, you don't want to be fumbling around trying to figure out how to use the software. You want all of your mental energy focused on solving the problems. The Bluebook app ensures that the testing environment is second nature to you. So your first step before you spend another dollar is to buy the official digital SAT study guide and download the Bluebook app. You now have a total of 8 perfect official practice tests. That is the core of any successful study plan. Now you might be thinking, great, if the official materials are so perfect, why do I need any other books at all? That is a fantastic question, and the answer reveals the one major weakness of the College Board's resources. Their explanations can be terrible. They are often dry, overly technical, and they show you one way to solve a problem, which is often not the fastest or most intuitive way. They'll tell you what the right answer is, but they often fail to teach you the underlying strategy, the pattern recognition, and the critical thinking skills you need to solve similar problems in the future. The official materials give you the what, but they don't always give you the how or the why. And that is where the other books on our list come in. They are the expert teachers who will take the official ingredients from the College Board and show you how to cook a masterpiece. They fill in the gaps, teach you the strategies, and provide the thousands of extra practice drills you need to achieve true mastery. So let's start with the first type of teacher you need to hire: the strategist. This is the wise old coach who, before you even touch a basketball, sits you down and makes you watch hours of game tape. They don't teach you how to shoot a free throw just yet. Instead, they teach you to see the entire court. They show you how the other team moves, where their weaknesses are, and how the rules of the game can be bent in your favor. In the world of SAT prep, these are the all-in-one comprehensive guides. Their primary goal isn't to teach you every single math formula or grammar rule. Their goal is to rewire your brain to think like the test makers. And for this job, the first book I want to put on your radar is the Princeton Review's Cracking the Digital SAT. For decades, the Princeton Review has been built on a single, powerful philosophy. The SAT is not a measure of your intelligence, your worth, or your future potential. It is a standardized test. And because it's standardized, it is predictable. And because it is predictable, it can be beaten. This book is the embodiment of that philosophy. It's less of a textbook and more of a playbook for a game you've been forced to play. The single greatest strength of this book is its relentless focus on strategy over pure content. It's the master of what they call the process of elimination, or POE. They drill into your head that you don't need to find the right answer. You just need to find the 3 wrong answers and eliminate them. This sounds simple, almost insultingly so, but it is a psychological game changer. When you're staring at a convoluted reading passage question, your brain freezes trying to find the perfect answer. The Princeton Review teaches you to flip the script. Instead, you become a detective looking for the tiny flaws, the extreme language, the out-of-scope detail in the wrong answers. It turns a hunting mission into a simple checklist, which is far less intimidating under the pressure of a ticking clock. This book is for the student who feels completely overwhelmed. The student who opens up an official practice test, looks at it, and has no idea where to even begin. If you're scoring below, say, an 1100, this book is your starting point. It's written in a conversational, almost cheeky tone. It feels like an older, smarter sibling is letting you in on all the secrets. It will teach you about pacing, how to identify the easy, medium, and hard questions and attack them in an order that maximizes your points. It gives you a framework for every section, a step-by-step process for every question type. It's the book that takes the terrifying, monstrous SAT and makes it feel manageable. It builds your confidence, which, in the early stages of prep, is more important than memorizing the formula for the volume of a cone. But let's be brutally honest about what this book is not. The Princeton Review is not the College Board, and their practice questions, while good for practicing the strategies they teach, do not have the same flavor, the same nuance, the same almost poetic trickiness of the real thing. They are a simulation. A very good one, but a simulation nonetheless. If you use only this book, you might find that the real test feels a little different. The wording might be slightly more subtle, the math traps a little more clever. Furthermore, if you are already scoring a 1300 and are aiming for a 1550, This book is probably too basic for you. It spends a lot of time on foundational strategies that you likely already understand. It won't give you the deep dive into the most esoteric grammar rules or the most complex math concepts that separate the great scores from the elite scores. It's the teacher that gets you from AD to AB+. It is not the teacher that gets you from an A to an A+. So what if you're a different type of student? What if you're not looking for a friendly coach but a data-driven scientist? You're the student who loves spreadsheets, who wants to quantify everything, and who believes that victory is achieved through overwhelming data and repetition. For you, there's another giant in the industry, Kaplan's SAT Prep Plus. If the Princeton Review is about learning the art of the test, Kaplan is about mastering the science of it. The first thing you'll notice about Kaplan is the sheer volume. You get the book, but you also get access to a massive online portal with question banks, video lessons, and full-length practice tests. Kaplan's approach is less about cracking the test and more about grinding it into submission. Their methodology is built on a cycle of learn, practice, review. They present a concept, give you a mountain of questions to drill it, and then provide incredibly detailed analytics on your performance. Their online score reports are where Kaplan really shines. They don't just tell you that you got 5 questions wrong in the math section. They tell you that you missed 3 questions in the problem-solving and data analysis category, 2 of which were medium difficulty and involved interpreting a scatterplot. This level of granularity is gold. It allows you to perform surgical strikes on your weaknesses, instead of just carpet-bombing entire subjects with practice. You can generate custom quizzes focusing only on the exact types of questions that give you trouble. Kaplan is for the self-motivated, highly organized student. It's for the person who wants to build a detailed study plan and stick to it. If you're someone who already has a solid content foundation but struggles with consistency or has a few specific, nagging weaknesses, Kaplan's tools can help you identify and eliminate them with ruthless efficiency. It's a powerful system for optimization. However, Kaplan suffers from the same core drawback as the Princeton Review, perhaps even more so. Their questions can feel distinctly Kaplan-esque. They are designed to test the concepts in a very direct, and sometimes slightly clunky way. They often lack the elegant misdirection of a true College Board question. Students who exclusively use Kaplan can sometimes develop a sort of rigid, robotic thinking that gets them tripped up by the more creative or unconventional questions on the actual SAT. And the sheer volume of material can be a double-edged sword. It's easy to get lost in the sea of practice questions and mistake quantity of work for quality of learning. You can spend 100 hours in the Kaplan ecosystem and not improve if you're just mindlessly clicking through problems without deep, intentional review. So we have 2 different philosophies: the Princeton Review, the clever strategist, and Kaplan, the data-driven grinder. Which one should you choose? The answer is, you're asking the wrong question. The smart student doesn't choose one. The smart student uses them both, but in a very specific way. Here is the secret. You don't buy these books for their practice tests. You have the official Blue Book app for that, which is the only true source of gospel. You buy these books for their systems, their strategies, and their explanations. I recommend you start with the Princeton Review. Read it cover to cover. Absorb its mindset. Learn the art of process of elimination. Let it build your confidence and give you a structured approach to the test. Use their drills to practice these specific strategies in a low-stakes environment. Think of this as your basic training. Once you've completed that, you take an official practice test from the Blue Book app. This is your reality check. The score report from that test becomes your new roadmap. Now, you turn to Kaplan, but not as a textbook. You use it as a tool. Did the official test reveal that you're weak on questions involving function notation? Great. Go into Kaplan's massive question bank and generate a quiz of 30 function notation problems. Drill them until you never want to see the letter F followed by a parenthesis ever again. Did you struggle with punctuation questions? Use Kaplan's specific chapter and drills on commas and semicolons to patch that hole in your knowledge. You use Princeton Review to build the chassis of your car. And you use Kaplan's targeted tools to tune the engine. And all along the way, every week or 2, you go back to the source. You take another official practice test from the College Board to see if your work in the lab is translating to the real world. This hybrid approach gives you the best of both worlds. The clever, holistic strategy from one and the infinite, targeted practice from the other, all benchmarked against the unimpeachable truth of the official materials. You now have a complete game plan. You understand the overarching strategy and have the tools to drill down on any specific weakness that pops up. You're prepared for the structure, the timing, and the psychology of the exam. But there's a problem. What happens when you encounter a topic that requires more than just strategy? What about those advanced grammar rules that seem to exist only on the SAT? Or the specific types of reading passage questions that always seem to trip you up, no matter how many times you practice? For that, the all-in-one guides aren't enough. You need to move beyond the general practitioner and call in the specialists. In the next part, we are going to dive into the undisputed champions of the verbal sections, the reading and writing prep books. These are the guides written by the true masters, the ones who have dedicated their entire careers to deconstructing just this one half of the test. And I promise you, the book that I believe is the single most effective tool for raising your verbal score is not the one you think it is. You don't want to miss this. Alright, let's talk about the reading and writing section. This is where dreams are made and destroyed. It's the section that feels the most subjective, the most fuzzy. You can know every single math formula by heart, but how do you prepare for a passage about the migratory patterns of the Arctic tern or a dense historical document from the 1800s? The common advice is just read more. Get a feel for it. Do a ton of practice questions. And that advice is precisely why so many smart, capable students who get A's in their English classes, hit a brick wall. They do hundreds, sometimes thousands of practice questions from the official Blue Book app or the College Board's Big Red Book, and their score barely budges. They get stuck in that 600 to 650 range and feel like they've hit their natural ceiling. But it's not a ceiling. It's a locked door. And they're trying to ram it down with brute force instead of just using the key. The single biggest misconception about the SAT verbal section is that it's a reading comprehension test. It's not. It's a logic test that uses English passages as its medium. Every single question has one, and only one 100% objectively correct answer that is directly supported by evidence in the text. There is no room for interpretation, for nuance, for what you think the author was trying to say. Your English teacher might reward you for a creative interpretation of a poem. The SAT will penalize you for it. The test is a machine, and to beat it, you have to think like a machine. This is why the official SAT study guide, published by the College Board itself, is simultaneously the most important book and one of the worst books for actually learning the material. It's a book of problems, not a book of instruction. It's the final exam, not the textbook. Using the official guide to learn the SAT is like trying to learn how to be a mechanic by just staring at a car engine. You can see all the parts, but you have no idea how they work together or what to do when something breaks. The official guide tells you what the right answer is, but it does a terrible job of teaching you the underlying system for how to find it every single time. So what is the key? What is the textbook you need before you take the final exam? For the SAT reading and writing section, there is one name that stands above all others. One author who has so thoroughly systematized this fuzzy half of the test that it starts to feel as logical and predictable as a math problem. That name is Erica Meltzer, and her book, The Critical Reader, the complete guide to SAT reading, along with its companion for the writing section, is without exaggeration the Holy Grail. I'm going to combine her reading and her grammar books into one recommendation because they are two sides of the same coin, built on the exact same philosophy. Buying one without the other is like buying a car with only two wheels. Let's break down why this book, or rather this set of books, is the undisputed champion. First, it teaches a method. It doesn't just throw passages at you. Meltzer deconstructs the entire test. She identifies every single question type you will ever see. You'll learn the difference between an inference question and a detail question. You'll learn how to approach main idea questions versus function questions. For each type, she gives you a specific, repeatable strategy. She teaches you to identify the keywords in the question, to predict the kind of answer you're looking for before you even look at the options, and most importantly, how to spot the trap answers. And the trap answers are everything. The SAT doesn't just put one right answer and three random ones. It puts one right answer and three seductively wrong answers. One might be too extreme. One might be true in the real world but not supported by the passage. One might be a reverse answer, twisting the logic of the text. Meltzer's book is like a field guide to these traps. After working through her chapters, you start to see the matrix. You look at the four answer choices and you can almost hear the test maker whispering, I designed option B to catch the student who reads too quickly. I designed option C for the student who makes an assumption. The book trains you to see the test from the creator's point of view. And that is a fundamental, game-changing shift. Second, let's talk about the writing and language section, which is really just a grammar and logic test in disguise. This is the section where students can see the most rapid improvement, but only if they study correctly. Most prep books just give you a giant list of 50 grammar rules. It's overwhelming. You memorize rules about dangling modifiers and subject-verb agreement in isolation. But Erica Meltzer's grammar guide is different. It's organized by concept and frequency. She focuses relentlessly on the handful of grammar rules that make up the vast majority of questions on the actual test. Things like comma usage, apostrophes, subject-verb agreement, and pronoun clarity. She doesn't just list the rule. She explains the logic behind it and shows you the dozen different ways the SAT will try to disguise it. You'll learn that a question that looks like it's about vocabulary might actually be a test of comma rules. You'll learn to recognize the classic sentence structures the SAT uses to try and confuse you. It's not about becoming a grammar expert. It's about becoming an expert in the grammar the SAT tests. There's a huge difference. By the end of that book, you will be able to look at a sentence and diagnose its errors with the precision of a surgeon. So, how do you actually use these books to get a 100, 150, even a 200-point score increase? Let me give you the exact blueprint. Step 1. Do not read this book passively. This is not a novel. It is a workbook, a training manual. Get a notebook, a dedicated notebook, just for your SAT verbal prep. For every chapter you read in Meltzer's book, you are going to take notes. You're going to do every single practice drill she provides, no matter how simple it seems. When you get one wrong, you don't just circle the right answer and move on. That's the most common mistake. Instead, you write down in your own words why you got it wrong and why the correct answer is correct, using the exact terminology and logic from the book. This act of writing it down forces your brain to process the concept on a much deeper level. Step 2. Integrate with official practice. Meltzer's books are the textbook. The College Board's official material is the homework. Here's the system. You read the chapter on, say, words and context questions in Meltzer's reading guide. You do all her drills. You feel like you understand it. Now, you go to the official Blue Book practice test, and you don't do the whole test. You hunt down every single words and context question you can find across multiple tests and you drill them, one after another. This is called targeted practice. You're not just randomly doing questions, you are applying a specific skill you just learned to the real thing over and over again until it becomes second nature. Step 3. Create a mistake log. This is the single most powerful tool in your arsenal. In that same notebook, you're going to create a section called the mistake log. Every time you get a question wrong on an official practice test, you log it. You write down the test number, the question number, and then you categorize the error based on what you learned from Meltzer. Did you fall for a too extreme answer choice? Did you misread the question? Was it a comma splice error? Be specific. Over time, you will start to see patterns. You'll realize, wow, I've missed 5 questions in a row that involved non-essential clauses. Now you know exactly what you need to go back and review in Meltzer's book. This transforms your studying from a guessing game into a targeted, data-driven process. You're no longer just studying for the SAT. You are fixing a specific weakness in your understanding of semicolons. This method, learn, drill, log, is foolproof. Takes work, yes, but it's intelligent work. It's the difference between swinging a sledgehammer wildly in a dark room and using a laser-guided tool to hit a precise target. Erica Meltzer's books are that laser-guided tool. They provide the framework, the system, and the clarity that turns the reading and writing section from an unpredictable mountain into a series of hills you can climb one by one. Mastering the verbal section with this system is like building one half of a skyscraper. It's a massive achievement, a towering monument to your hard work. But a skyscraper is only as strong as its foundation on both sides. And without an equally rock-solid structure on the other half, the whole thing comes crashing down. The math section of the SAT is a completely different beast. It's not about advanced calculus or trigonometry. In fact, the actual math is surprisingly simple. It's about logic puzzles disguised as math problems. And the single biggest mistake nearly every student makes is studying for it like it's a school math test. They drill formulas, but they don't learn the language of the test itself. And there's one resource, one book in particular, that cracks this code better than any other. That resource is the College Pandas SAT Math Advanced Guide and Workbook by Nielsen Fu. And let me be crystal clear. This isn't just another math textbook. This book is a Rosetta Stone. It translates the dense, confusing language of SAT math into the simple, straightforward math you already know from school. It's the single most effective tool I have ever seen for a student who is stuck. You know the student I'm talking about. Maybe it's you. You get A's in your honors math class. You understand the concepts. You can solve for X all day long. But you take a practice SAT and your score comes back 620, 650, maybe 680 if you're lucky, and you can't figure out why. You're staring at the questions you got wrong and you think, I knew how to do that. Why did I miss it? You're frustrated because you feel like your score doesn't reflect your actual math ability. And you are 100% correct. Doesn't. It reflects your ability to speak the SAT-specific dialect of math. This is where the College Panda book changes the entire game. Nielsen Fu, the author, understood something fundamental. The SAT doesn't just test math concepts. It tests those concepts in about a dozen predictable, repeatable patterns. The book isn't organized by broad school subjects like Algebra 2. It's organized by the exact question types the SAT uses. There's a chapter on rates, a chapter on functions, a chapter on interpreting linear models. Each chapter is a laser-focused deep dive into one specific way the College Board builds its questions. Let me tell you about a student I worked with. We'll call him David. David was the classic case. Straight A student on the school math team, but he was completely brickwalled at a 660 on the math section. He had 3 different prep books, and he was just doing endless practice problems, hoping that sheer volume would push his score up. It wasn't working. He was getting exhausted and demoralized. I told him to put away all his other books and just buy this one. He was skeptical, but he was desperate. A week later he called me, and he was practically shouting with excitement. He said, I get it now. I finally get it. He had just finished the chapter on systems of equations. In school, he learned to solve these with substitution or elimination. But on the SAT, he kept running out of time or making small errors. The College Panda book showed him something new. It showed him how the SAT often designs these problems so that you don't actually need to solve for X and Y. They'll ask you for something like, what is the value of 2x plus 2y? And the book teaches you to recognize that you can often just add or subtract the 2 original equations to get the answer in a single step. It's a 10-second solution to what David was treating as a 2-minute problem. That was his aha moment. He realized he wasn't studying for a math test. He was training for a logic game that used math as its building blocks. The entire book is filled with these revelations. It teaches you to spot the traps. For example, when you see a complex-looking word problem about a bank account with an initial deposit and a monthly fee, your brain, trained by this book, won't panic. It will instantly categorize it. Okay, this is a y equals mx plus b question. The initial deposit is b, the y-intercept. The monthly fee is m, the slope. You bypass the confusing story and go straight to the underlying math structure. The book does this for every single topic. For exponential growth, for circle equations, for trigonometry. It gives you the pattern, drills you on that specific pattern with hyper-realistic practice questions, and then provides explanations that are so clear, so direct, they feel like a cheat code. The explanations are the other half of the magic. A typical prep book's explanation will just show you the mathematical steps to get the right answer. That's fine, but it's not enough. The College Panda explanations do something more important. They explain the thinking behind the problem. They'll often say something like, the trap here was to try and solve for the variable directly, which would take too long. The faster way is to recognize this is a question about ratios. It actively deconstructs the test maker's tricks. After going through a few chapters, you start to see the matrix. You look at a new problem and instead of seeing a wall of text and numbers, you see the familiar patterns and frameworks you've practiced over and over again. Now, who is this book for? It is for the student who has a solid foundation in Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and geometry, but is struggling to translate that knowledge into a high score. It's the perfect tool for anyone stuck in that 550 to 720 range who wants to make the leap to the 750 to 800 elite tier. If you're getting questions wrong and your reaction is, ugh, I should have gotten that, this book is your new best friend. It bridges the gap between knowing the material and mastering the test. Who is this book not for? If you are truly struggling with the fundamental concepts of algebra, if you don't know how to factor a quadratic or what slope-intercept form is, this book might be too much, too fast. It's an advanced guide. Just like the title says, it assumes you have the foundational knowledge and focuses on application and strategy. If you're scoring below a 500, you might want to start with a more foundational resource like the Khan Academy curriculum to build up your core skills first. Then, once you have that base, you graduate to the College Panda to sharpen your skills into a lethal, score-crushing weapon. So, how do you use it for maximum effect? You don't just read it like a novel. You treat it like a workout plan at the gym. You go through it chapter by chapter. Read the lesson, which is usually only a few pages long and incredibly concise. Then, you do every single practice problem at the end of the chapter. Every single one. When you're done, you grade yourself. But you don't just circle the wrong answers and move on. You create what I call a mistake log. For every question you got wrong, you write down 3 things in a notebook. 1. What the question number was. 2. Why you got it wrong. Were you careless? Did you not know the formula? Did you fall for a specific trap? Be brutally honest with yourself. And 3. What you will do differently next time to avoid that same mistake. This process of actively analyzing your errors is what separates the 650 scores from the 790 scores. The College Pandas focus chapters make this process incredibly effective. Your mistake log won't be a random collection of errors. It will show you clear patterns. You might realize, wow, I missed 4 out of the 10 questions in the trigonometry chapter. I need to review so Katoa. The book gives you the structure to identify your weaknesses with surgical precision, and then it gives you the tools to turn them into strengths. By the time you finish this book, you won't just be better at math. You'll be fluent in the language of the SAT. You'll have cracked the code. So we've solved the math section. We have a clear, actionable plan to take your score from stuck to stellar. But that's only half the battle, isn't it? For so many students, the real beast, the truly intimidating monster, is the other half of the test. The reading and writing section. Feels so subjective. How can you study for reading? You're either a good reader or you're not, right? Wrong. Completely wrong. There is a system. There is a logic. And just like with the math section, there is one book that deciphers this code more effectively than any other, built around a single powerful philosophy that changes how you see every single passage and every single question. That book is The Critical Reader by Erica L. Meltzer, and its companion, The Ultimate Guide to SAT Grammar. Together, these 2 books form the definitive, undisputed Bible for the verbal half of the SAT. If you only get 2 non-college board books for your prep, it should be these 2. The philosophy that underpins Meltzer's entire approach is this. The SAT reading section is not a reading comprehension test. Let me say that again because it's the most important thing you will ever hear about this section. The SAT reading section is not a test of your ability to comprehend, interpret, or analyze literature like you do in your high school English class. It is a scavenger hunt. It is an open book evidence-finding mission. Every single correct answer to every single question in the reading section is stated directly in the passage. It might be rephrased, what the test makers call paraphrasing, but it is there on the page in black and white. There is 0 ambiguity, 0 subjectivity, 0 room for interpretation. The test is standardized for millions of students across the country. The answers cannot depend on whether your teacher preferred the curtains are blue because the author is sad interpretation. The answer must be provably, logically, and indisputably correct based only on the words provided. This is the code. This is the secret. And this is why so many brilliant students, who get straight A's in AP English, absolutely bomb the SAT reading section. They've been trained for years to read between the lines, to find deeper meaning, to synthesize complex themes. And then they walk into the SAT and the test punishes them for it. They overthink. They make logical leaps that seem brilliant in a classroom discussion but are fatal on a standardized test. They choose an answer that could be true or might be true instead of the answer that must be true based on the text. Erica Meltzer's The Critical Reader is the antidote to this thinking. It completely deprograms you from your English class brain and rebuilds your approach from the ground up, based on the SAT's rigid logic. The book's genius lies in how it dissects the test. Meltzer doesn't just give you vague strategies like read carefully. She categorizes every single question type you will ever see. You'll learn the difference between a main purpose question, a detail question, a vocabulary and context question, an inference question, and a paired evidence question. And this is crucial because each question type has its own specific set of rules and its own specific method of attack. For a detail question that gives you a line reference like in lines 35 to 38, the author indicates that Meltzer teaches you that this isn't a suggestion. It's a command. The answer is physically located in or immediately around those lines. Your job isn't to think. Your job is to find the sentence in the passage that matches one of the answer choices. It's a matching game. The most valuable part of the book, in my opinion, is how it redefines the word inference. In the real world, to infer means to make an educated guess based on limited information. On the SAT, an inference is a conclusion that is so blindingly obvious and requires such a tiny logical step from the text that it's almost explicitly stated. Meltzer teaches you that if you feel like you're making a significant mental leap, your inference is wrong. The correct SAT inference is something like this. If the passage says, "The sun rose and the birds began to sing," the only valid inference the SAT will allow is "it was morning." That's it. Not that the birds were happy, not that it was a beautiful day. Just the most direct, undeniable conclusion. The book is filled with drills that hammer this distinction into your brain until you can spot a fake, too far of a leap inference from a mile away. It does the same for vocabulary and context. It teaches you to completely ignore what you think a word means. Instead, you physically cover the word in the passage and try to fill in the blank with your own word based on the surrounding sentences. Then you find the answer choice that best matches the word you came up with. This strategy single-handedly eliminates 90% of the errors on these questions, because the SAT loves to use common words in uncommon ways, and then trick you with answer choices that match the common definition. Now let's talk about its companion, the Ultimate Guide to SAT Grammar. This covers the writing and language section, and the philosophy is exactly the same. This is not a test of your creative writing ability. It is a test of your knowledge of a fixed set of about 20 grammar and rhetorical rules. That's it. Meltzer's grammar book is a masterpiece of clarity and organization. It dedicates a chapter to each specific rule tested. One chapter on comma usage. One chapter on subject-verb agreement. One chapter on modifier placement. One chapter on logical transitions. You see, the writing and language section seems intimidating because it's presented as prose. But it's not. It's a series of isolated grammar puzzles disguised as passages. Meltzer's book gives you the key to each puzzle. It doesn't just tell you a rule. It shows you every single way the SAT tries to trick you with that rule. For example, with subject-verb agreement, it teaches you to spot the classic SAT trap, separating the subject and the verb with a long prepositional phrase to confuse you. For instance, the box of old, dusty ornaments are in the attic. Your ear might say that sounds okay because ornaments are is right there. But Meltzer trains you to cross out the prepositional phrase of old, dusty ornaments, revealing the true subject and verb. The box is. The singular subject box requires the singular verb is. The book is filled with hundreds of these targeted examples and drills. You learn the rule, you drill the rule, and you master the rule. By the time you're done, you stop reading the writing passages for meaning and start scanning them for errors, looking for your checklist of 20 possible mistakes. You see a semicolon and you immediately check. Are there two complete independent sentences on either side? You see the word being and your spidey sense tingles, because it's almost always part of a wrong answer. You become a grammar machine. Together, The Critical Reader and The Ultimate Guide to SAT Grammar are not just books. They are a complete system. They are a re-education in how to approach the verbal half of the SAT. They replace your subjective, what feels right English class intuition with a cold, hard logical system for decoding the test. They teach you to see the test not as an opponent, but as a predictable machine with rules that can be learned and exploited. And once you see the patterns, once you understand the logic, the fear and uncertainty of the reading and writing sections simply melt away. You are no longer guessing. You are executing a strategy. But even with the perfect strategy for reading and writing, you still need to put it all together. You need to practice on full realistic tests under time conditions. And that's where our next category of books comes in, the ones that provide the essential ammunition for your war against the SAT. So let's talk about that ammunition. This is the category of books dedicated to one thing and one thing only, full-length practice tests. And let me be crystal clear. If you walk into your SAT without having taken at least 4 to 5 full-length, timed practice tests under realistic conditions, you are committing academic malpractice. You're just setting yourself up for failure. It's like a marathon runner trying to compete without ever having run more than 5 miles. The SAT isn't just a test of knowledge. It's a test of endurance. It's a test of pacing. It's a test of your ability to perform under pressure for hours. Practice tests are where you build that mental muscle. And in the world of practice test books, there is a king, an undisputed reigning champion that every single student must own. And that is the official SAT study guide, published by the College Board itself. This is non-negotiable. If you buy only one book for your SAT prep, this is it. Why? Because these are the people who make the test. The questions in this book are not like the SAT. They are the SAT. They are retired official exams, crafted by the same people, with the same peculiar logic, the same subtle traps, and the same precise difficulty curve you will face on test day. Inside, you will find 8 official practice tests. Every question has been vetted, tested, and calibrated. When you take a test from this book, the score you get is the most accurate prediction of how you would perform on the real thing. This is your baseline. This is your North Star. You use these tests to measure your progress, to identify your true weaknesses, and to understand the very soul of the SAT. The explanations in the back are also written by the test makers, giving you insight, albeit sometimes limited, into their reasoning. Now let's talk about the downside, because nothing is perfect. The explanations in the official guide can be a bit dry. They are very good at telling you that answer choice B is correct, but they're not always great at explaining the deep strategic why. They don't hold your hand and walk you through the thought process of an expert test taker. They give you the what, but often lack the how. That's why you use the strategy books we talked about earlier to supplement this one. You take a test from the official guide, and then you use the strategies from Erica Meltzer or College Panda to analyze your mistakes. And for the digital SAT, this book is even more critical. The tests inside are the paper versions of the same ones you can access for free on the College Board's Blue Book app. You should use both. Use the physical book to work through problems at your own pace, to mark up questions, and to do deep analysis without a screen. But use the Blue Book app to take those same tests under official, timed, digital conditions to simulate the real experience. The combination is unbeatable. But here's the problem many dedicated students run into. 8 tests just aren't enough. If you're studying for 3, 4, or even 6 months, you're going to burn through the official material and find yourself hungry for more. You need more reps, more practice to keep your skills sharp. And this is where we enter the wild, complicated world of third-party practice test books. Before we name names, I need to give you a massive, flashing red light warning. No third-party company, no matter how big or reputable, can perfectly replicate the SAT. They try their best, but their questions will always feel a little off. Sometimes they're too wordy. Sometimes they're too easy. Sometimes they test concepts in a way the College Board never would. Think of them as sparring partners. They can help you train, build stamina, and practice your moves, but they are not the world champion. The official guide is the world champion. You use these third-party books for volume, not for gospel. With that said, who are the top contenders? First up, we have the Princeton Review. They often publish books with titles like 10 Practice Tests for the SAT. The main advantage here is sheer volume. You get a ton of practice material for a reasonable price. This is great for drilling, for building that mental endurance, and for just getting comfortable with the format. If you have a weakness in, say, quadratic equations, you can do dozens and dozens of practice problems from their tests. The downside is that their questions are frequently criticized for not matching the tone and style of the real SAT. The reading passages might have ambiguous questions, and the math problems might be a bit more straightforward or, conversely, more convoluted than what you'll actually see. Use Princeton Review for the reps to build the raw muscle, but don't obsess over your scores on their tests. They are a directional indicator, not a precise measurement. Next in line is Kaplan. Kaplan is another giant in the test prep industry, and like Princeton Review, they offer books packed with full-length practice tests. Their value proposition is very similar: volume and repetition. Kaplan tests are useful for identifying content gaps and practicing your time management. If you consistently run out of time on the reading section in Kaplan's tests, you'll likely have the same problem on the real thing. However, they share the same core weakness as all third-party materials. The questions can feel artificial. Some students find Kaplan's math to be a bit easier than the real deal, which can create a false sense of security. Their verbal sections might not capture the subtle nuance that the College Board is famous for. Again, a solid tool for practice and stamina, but use the official tests as your true benchmark. Now let's talk about the wild card, Barron's. For decades, Barron's has cultivated a reputation for being significantly harder than the actual SAT. And for some students, this is a selling point. The philosophy is, if I train with ankle weights on, running the real race will feel easy. If you can survive a Barron's math section, the real SAT math section might feel like a walk in the park. This can be a huge confidence booster. It forces you to engage with complex problems and push your skills to the absolute limit. But this approach is a double-edged sword. The danger with Barron's is that the questions can be unrealistically difficult or poorly constructed. They might require obscure knowledge or overly laborious calculations that the real SAT, which values elegant and efficient problem-solving, would never ask. This can be incredibly demoralizing. It can also teach you bad habits, training you to look for complex, convoluted traps when you should be looking for the simple, fundamental concept being tested. So my advice on Barron's is this: use it with extreme caution. If you are a high-scoring student aiming for a perfect score and you've exhausted all other materials, Barron's can be a great way to challenge yourself. But for most students, it might cause more frustration than it's worth. So how do you put this all together? You need a strategy. You don't just take tests randomly. You create a hierarchy. At the top, the undisputed king is the official College Board material. These 8 tests are precious gold. You guard them. You use them strategically as key benchmarks. Start with one as a diagnostic. Save 2 or 3 for the final weeks leading up to your test date for full-scale dress rehearsals. In the middle, you have your third-party books from Princeton Review or Kaplan. These are your workhorses. You use these for your weekly timed practice sections or full tests to build stamina and drill concepts. You don't panic if your score fluctuates on these. You focus on learning from your mistakes. And the most important part of using any practice test book isn't taking the test. It's reviewing it. For every single question you get wrong, or even guess on and get right, you must perform a deep forensic analysis. Get a notebook, your mistake journal, and for each error write down 3 things. 1. Why did I get this wrong? Was it a careless mistake? A content gap? I didn't know the formula? Did I misread the question? 2. Why is the correct answer the undeniable, indisputably correct answer? Force yourself to explain it in your own words. 3. What is my specific actionable plan to avoid making this exact type of mistake ever again? This process of deep review is where the real learning happens. It's what separates the 1,200 score from the 1,500 score. The books provide the material, but you provide the effort that turns that material into points. So let's talk about the source of that material. Where do you get the highest quality, most authentic practice problems that will actually turn your effort into points on test day? The answer to this is so simple, so obvious that a lot of people actually miss its importance. It all starts with one book, or more accurately, one organization, the College Board. The makers of the SAT, the official SAT study guide, and its digital counterpart, the Blue Book app, are not just recommended resources. They are the absolute, non-negotiable foundation of your entire prep. Think of it this way. If you wanted to become a world-class chef, you wouldn't learn to cook using recipes from a random blog. You'd go to the source, to the masters who created the dishes. The College Board created the SAT. Their practice tests are the original recipes. Every other book, every other course, every other tutor is just trying to replicate what the College Board has already perfected. The questions in the official guide and on the Blue Book app are retired SAT questions. They have been through a rigorous multi-million-dollar development process. They've been tested on thousands of students. They are perfectly calibrated for difficulty, for wording, for trap answers. They are the ground truth. Using unofficial questions from other companies is like practicing for a marathon by running on a course that's a slightly different length, with hills in the wrong places. You might get better at running, but you won't be prepared for the specific challenges of the actual race. So your first and most important investment is the official SAT study guide. You must use the official practice tests as your benchmarks, your diagnostic tools, and your final dress rehearsals. Period. End of story. But, and this is a massive but, the official guide has a fatal flaw. Huge one. While the questions are pure gold, the explanations are practically useless. I'm serious. They are awful. They're written by test makers, not by teachers. An explanation in the official guide will often just say something like, A is the correct answer because it is the most logical choice. B, C, and D are incorrect because they are not logical. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious. That doesn't help me understand why it's logical. It doesn't teach me the underlying grammar rule I missed, the math concept I forgot, or the specific way the test makers designed the trap answer that I fell for. The official guide tells you what the right answer is, but it almost never teaches you how to find it on your own the next time. And this is where the entire world of third-party prep books comes in. The best SAT prep books don't exist to give you more practice questions. They exist to bridge the gap left by the official guide's terrible explanations. They are the expert teachers who can decode the test maker's mindset. They are the translators for the SAT's unique language. You use the official guide for the what, the authentic practice, and you use these other books for the why, the strategy, the concepts, and the learning. So, let's break down the first and most critical category of these supplementary books. I call them the strategists. These aren't just collections of problems. They are masterclasses in book form, written by expert tutors who have spent decades reverse engineering the SAT. For the reading and writing section, the undisputed champion is Erica Meltzer. Her books, The Critical Reader for Reading and The Ultimate Guide to SAT Grammar for Writing, are legendary for a reason. Meltzer's approach is transformative because she doesn't just give you tips and tricks. She teaches you the fundamental structure of the test itself. She shows you that the SAT isn't a mysterious test of abstract intelligence. It's a standardized test with predictable patterns and a very specific set of rules it must follow. Her grammar book, for example, is a masterwork. It isolates every single grammar rule tested on the SAT, from comma splices to subject-verb agreement to dangling modifiers, and dedicates a chapter to each one. Each chapter explains the rule in plain English, shows you exactly how the SAT builds questions around that rule, and then gives you targeted drills to hammer the concept home. After working through her book, you stop seeing the writing section as a series of confusing sentences. Instead, you start seeing it like a mechanic sees an engine. You can spot the broken part immediately. You'll look at a question and think, "Ah, that's a classic pronoun antecedent agreement error." Or, "They're testing idiomatic prepositions here." You learn the names of the errors, which gives you power over them. Her reading book is just as powerful, though it teaches a different skill. It teaches you how to read for one thing and one thing only, what the text explicitly says. She trains you to ignore your own interpretations, to eliminate answers that feel right but have no direct evidence in the passage, and to recognize the precise, almost legalistic way the SAT designs its questions and answers. It's a complete paradigm shift that moves you from being a passive reader to an active hunter for evidence. Now for the math section, the equivalent to Erica Meltzer is Nielsen Fu, the author of the College Panda series. His book, The College Panda's SAT Math, Advanced Guide and Workbook, is the gold standard. Just like Meltzer, Fu understands that the SAT doesn't test all of math. It tests a very specific and surprisingly small subset of math concepts over and over and over again. His book is designed around this principle. He doesn't waste your time with obscure theorems you learned in pre-calc that will never appear on the test. Instead, he dedicates each chapter to a high-frequency SAT concept: systems of equations, functions, rates, quadratics, circle theorems. What makes the College Panda book so effective is its clarity and structure. Fu explains each concept with zero fluff, provides multiple examples of how that concept appears in easy, medium, and hard SAT questions, and then, this is the key, gives you a massive set of hyper-realistic practice problems to drill that one specific skill into your brain. You don't just learn how to solve a system of equations. You learn the 5 different ways the SAT will try to trick you when presenting a system of equations problem. You master the patterns. This book demolishes the idea that you have to be a math person to score well on the SAT. No, you just have to be a person who has mastered the 25 or 30 core concepts that the College Panda lays out for you. So how do you actually use these books? You don't just read them cover to cover like a novel. That's inefficient. You use them in a targeted, surgical way driven by data. Here's the workflow. Step 1. You take a full-timed practice test from the official Bluebook app. Step 2. You grade it and build your error log just like we discussed before. You identify your weaknesses. Let's say you missed 3 questions involving semicolon usage and 2 questions about circle geometry. Step 3. You don't just redo those problems. You open up Erica Meltzer's grammar book to the chapter on semicolons. You read the entire chapter. You do every single drill problem at the end of that chapter until you can't get them wrong. Then, you open the College Panda math book to the chapter on circles. You read it, you study the examples, and you grind through the practice problems. This is the cycle. Test, identify, remediate. You use the official test as a diagnostic X-ray to find the broken bones, and you use Meltzer and College Panda as the surgeons who set the bones and teach you how to heal them. By using these books together, you get the best of both worlds: the unparalleled authenticity of the College Board's questions, and the brilliant, targeted instruction of the world's best tutors. This combination is what builds your skills from the ground up, turning chronic weaknesses into reliable strengths. These are your foundational texts, the core of your curriculum, but they aren't the only tools you'll need. Once you've built the foundation of strategy and content knowledge, you need to build endurance and speed. And that requires a different kind of book entirely. That's because practice test books serve a fundamentally different purpose. They aren't for learning. They're for performing. Think of it like this. The foundational books are your coach, teaching you the mechanics of your swing, your footwork, your strategy. The practice test books are the scrimmages, the full-speed games where you put all that training into action under pressure. They are where you build the mental muscle and the unwavering stamina required to survive the 3-hour marathon that is the SAT. And when it comes to these full-scale simulations, There is one source that stands as the undisputed, unimpeachable gold standard. It's not a secret. It's not some hidden gem. It is the Big Blue Book published by the test maker itself, the official SAT study guide from the College Board. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Of course, the College Board's book is the best, they write the test. And yes, that's the obvious reason, but the depth of that reason is what most students miss. It's not just that the questions are official. It's that they possess the unique, almost peculiar DNA of the SAT. Every third-party company, Kaplan, Princeton Review, Barron's, you name it, spends millions of dollars trying to replicate this DNA. They hire psychometricians, former test writers, and data analysts to reverse engineer the test. And some of them get close. But no one, and I mean no one, can perfectly replicate the subtle nuances, the specific logical leaps, and the precise flavor of a genuine College Board question. Using unofficial questions is like a boxer training for a title fight by only sparring with opponents who kind of look like the champion. You might get a good workout, but you're not preparing for the champion's specific jab, his unique footwork, or the way he sets up his knockout punch. When you use the official SAT study guide, you are sparring with the champion himself. You are internalizing the exact rhythm and logic of the test you will actually face on test day. However, owning this book is not enough. In fact, using it incorrectly can be a massive waste of the most valuable resource you have. The biggest mistake students make is treating it like a workbook. They'll do a few questions from a reading passage here, a few math problems there, and check their answers. This is like trying to train for a marathon by jogging to your mailbox every day. You're not building endurance. You're not simulating pressure. You're just wasting precious, pristine, official practice material. Here is the correct way to use the official SAT study guide. You must treat each practice test within it as a sacred event. You schedule it on your calendar, preferably for a Saturday or Sunday morning. You wake up at the same time you would on test day. You eat the same breakfast. You find a quiet room, put your phone in another part of the house and set a timer. You take the entire test from start to finish with only the officially sanctioned breaks. You simulate the real experience as closely as humanly possible. Why? Because the SAT isn't just a test of knowledge. It's a test of focus, of energy management, of performing under fatigue. You need to know what it feels like to solve a complex algebra problem when your brain is already fried from analyzing a 19th century text on women's suffrage. The only way to train for that is to experience it. But the simulation is only half the battle. The real learning, the part that separates the 1300s from the 1500s, happens after the test is over. It's the deep forensic analysis of your performance. For every single question you got wrong, you don't just look at the right answer and move on. You perform an autopsy. You must identify the root cause of the error. Was it a careless mistake like a simple calculation error? Was it a genuine content gap? A math concept you simply don't know? Was it a misreading of the question? Was it a time pressure panic? You need to create what's called an error log. A simple spreadsheet or notebook where you write down the question number, the reason you got it wrong, and what you will do differently next time. And you don't stop there. You also go back and review every question you got right but had to guess on. You need to understand the underlying logic that made the correct answer correct and your other choices incorrect. This process is grueling. A 3-hour test can easily require another 4 to 5 hours of meticulous review to extract its full value. But it is the single most effective way to raise your score. You are literally identifying your precise weaknesses and systematically eliminating them. Now we have to address the giant digital elephant in the room. The official SAT study guide is a paper book. The SAT you will take is a digital adaptive test. This is a critical disconnect. The paper tests in the book do not replicate the experience of the Blue Book application, with its built-in Desmos calculator, its highlighting tools, and most importantly, its section adaptive format. So, does this make the Big Blue Book obsolete? Absolutely not. But it does change how we use it. Your primary full-length practice must come from the official Blue Book app provided by the College Board. There are currently 4 official practice tests available on that platform. These 4 tests are your holy grail. They are the most accurate simulation of what you will experience on test day, period. You should guard these 4 tests with your life, taking them under strict, timed conditions and performing that same deep forensic review afterward. So where does the paper book fit in? It becomes your ultimate question bank. It contains several additional, full-length, officially retired paper SATs. While the format is different, the question quality is still pure College Board. You can use these tests for targeted practice. You can use them to drill an entire reading and writing section, or an entire math section under timed conditions. You can even use them as your last resort full tests after you've exhausted the 4 on the Blue Book app, with the understanding that the format and scoring will be different. Think of the Blue Book tests as your dress rehearsals, and the tests in the book as your high-intensity practice sessions. This brings us to the siren song of other practice test books, the ones from Princeton Review, Kaplan, Barron's, and others that promise 10 practice tests for the digital SAT. It seems like a great value proposition. More is better, right? Wrong. This is one of the biggest traps in SAT prep. While these companies are run by smart people, their questions are, at best, a clever forgery. They often miss the mark. Sometimes their math questions are far too convoluted and computationally heavy, testing arithmetic more than logic. Other times, their reading questions hinge on obscure vocabulary or overly subjective interpretations that would never appear on a real SAT. Relying on these books for full-length practice is dangerous for 2 reasons. First, it can give you a completely warped sense of your own abilities. You might score a 1350 on a third-party test and think you're on track for that score, when in reality the test was poorly calibrated. Or you might score an 1100 on an unrealistically difficult test and become completely demoralized. The scores are essentially meaningless. Second, and more importantly, you risk training your brain to recognize the wrong patterns. You start learning the logic of the test prep company, not the logic of the College Board. So, are these books completely worthless? Not entirely, but their use case is extremely narrow. They should only be considered a Tier 4 resource. Your hierarchy of practice should be crystal clear. Tier 1. The 4 official adaptive tests on the Blue Book app. These are non-negotiable. Tier 2. The official non-adaptive, linear digital tests available as PDFs from the College Board website. Great for more official question exposure. Tier 3. The paper tests in the official SAT study guide. Your best source for a high volume of real questions for targeted drills. And only then if you have exhausted every single official resource and you simply need to practice sitting for a 3-hour exam to build pure stamina, could you consider using a third-party book. But you must do so with the full knowledge that the questions are flawed and the score is not predictive. The mantra for SAT practice is, and always will be, quality over quantity. For official tests reviewed with painstaking detail, will do more for your score than 20 unofficial tests that you breeze through. So now you have your foundational strategy books to learn the game, and you have your official practice tests to simulate the game. You have the core of your arsenal. But what if you have a specific stubborn weakness? What if you're consistently acing the math section but can't seem to break a 600 in reading and writing? A general book won't solve that. For that, you need to call in a specialist. You need a book that doesn't just cover a section, but obsesses over it. And let's be honest, the SAT writing and language section is the fastest, most direct path to a massive score increase. It's not based on interpretation or complex problem solving. It's based on a finite set of rules. Rules you can learn. Rules you can master. And there is one name that is synonymous with mastering these rules. Erica Meltzer. Her book, The Ultimate Guide to SAT Grammar, is not just a book. It's an institution. For over a decade, this has been the undisputed champion for students looking to systematically dismantle the writing section. What makes it so powerful? It's the philosophy. General prep books teach you grammar by giving you a list of rules, and then some practice questions. Meltzer's book does the opposite. It teaches you a system for thinking. It rewires your brain to stop asking, "Does this sound right?" and start asking, "What is this question testing?" It breaks the entire section down into a handful of core concepts: punctuation, grammar, and style. That's it. And within each of those, it provides a crystal clear, almost mathematical framework. Take commas, for example. Most of us use commas based on a vague feeling of where a pause should go. Meltzer annihilates that idea. She teaches you the 4, and only 4, reasons you will ever use a comma on the SAT. In a list, to separate 2 complete sentences with a conjunction, to separate an introductory clause, and to set off non-essential information. Suddenly, it's not a guessing game anymore. It's a checklist. When you see a comma question, you're not just guessing, you're running a diagnostic. Is this a list? No. Is it separating 2 sentences with a but? Yes. The answer is B. It transforms the section from an art into a science. This book single-handedly can take a student from a 28 to a 38 in the writing section, which is a massive 100-point jump on your total score, just by mastering a predictable set of rules. If your writing score is your bottleneck, this isn't a recommendation, it's a prescription. But what about the beast? The section that causes more frustration, more self-doubt, and more slammed books than any other? The reading section. This is where students feel the most helpless. You can know every grammar rule, you can be a math whiz, but the reading section feels subjective. It feels like you're being asked to read the test maker's mind. You narrow it down to two choices, A and C. They both seem plausible. You pick A with 60% confidence, and the answer is C. Every single time. The problem is that you're approaching it like a literature class. You're trying to interpret, to read between the lines, to infer meaning. And the SAT is designed to punish you for that. The secret to the SAT reading section is that there is no secret. There is no interpretation. Every single correct answer is 100% supported by words written directly in the passage. The wrong answers are wrong for concrete, identifiable reasons. And the book that best drills this philosophy into your head is, once again, from Erica Meltzer. It's called The Critical Reader. This book is the antidote to subjective thinking. It systematically teaches you how to stop interpreting and start finding. It categorizes every question type you'll see: main idea, inference, words in context, command of evidence, and gives you a precise, repeatable strategy for each one. For main idea questions, it teaches you to look for the recurring concepts in the introduction and conclusion. For inference questions, it trains you to find the sentence in the text that proves the inference is true, transforming it from a guess into a matching game. Perhaps its greatest value is in how it tackles the dreaded history passages, those 18th and 19th century texts with convoluted sentences and archaic language. Most students panic. Meltzer's book teaches you to deconstruct them, to focus on the core arguments, and to understand the specific rhetorical structures they use. It gives you a toolkit, so when you see a passage from the Federalist Papers, you're not intimidated, you're prepared. If you feel like you're just guessing on the reading section, the Critical Reader will give you the objective, evidence-based system you need to conquer it. Now let's talk about math. Math is different. Unlike reading and writing, where one author has largely dominated the specialist space, the best math book for you depends entirely on why you're getting questions wrong. There are two primary types of students struggling with math. First, there's the student who understands all the concepts. You know what a quadratic equation is, SOHCAHTOA, you learned about linear functions. Your problem isn't a knowledge gap. Your problem is that you make what you call silly mistakes. You drop a negative sign. You misread the question and solve for x when it asks for 2x. You make a small calculation error under pressure. For you, the issue isn't learning. It's execution and consistency. If that's you, your book is the College Panda's SAT Math Advanced Guide and Workbook by Nielsen Fu. This book is the boot camp for SAT Math. It's not about long, gentle explanations. It's about brutal, focused efficiency. The College Panda's core philosophy is pattern recognition. The SAT doesn't test incredibly complex math. It tests the same core concepts over and over again, just dressed up in different ways. This book drills those concepts into your brain with hundreds upon hundreds of targeted practice problems. After finishing a chapter on, say, exponents, you will have seen every possible way the SAT can test exponent rules. You'll do it so many times that it becomes muscle memory. You won't have to think, you'll just execute. It hardens your skills, reduces careless errors, and builds the speed and accuracy you need to finish the section with time to spare. It's for the student who wants to go from a 650 to a 750 or 800 by achieving flawless execution. But what if you're the second type of student? The student with genuine content gaps. Maybe you never really understood trigonometry. Maybe functions and their graphs have always felt like a foreign language. When you get a question wrong, it's not a silly mistake. You look at the explanation and you genuinely have no idea how they got the answer. You don't need more drills, you need a teacher. For you, the best book is PWN the SAT Math Guide by Mike McLenithan. If the College Panda is a drill sergeant, Mike McLenithan is the brilliant, patient tutor who sits down with you and makes it all make sense. The tone of this book is completely different. It's conversational, it's often humorous, and it focuses on building a deep, intuitive understanding of the math. It doesn't just show you the formula. It explains why the formula works. It connects a concept like the slope of a line to real-world ideas that you can actually visualize. It's less about brute force and more about finesse and insight. This book excels at rebuilding a shaky foundation. It takes the most intimidating topics and makes them accessible. It's for the student who isn't just trying to get faster, but is trying to finally understand the core concepts they've been struggling with for years. So you see, choosing a specialist book isn't about finding the best one in a vacuum. It's about diagnosing your specific weakness with pinpoint accuracy. Are you losing points on grammar rules? Meltzer's grammar. Are you guessing on reading? Meltzer's critical reader. Are you making careless math errors? College Panda. Do you have actual math knowledge gaps? PWN the SAT. Using these books is the surgical strike that turns a plateau into a launch pad. By now, you've built the perfect SAT prep library. You have your foundation with the official guides. You have your comprehensive strategy with a great all-in-one book. And now you have your specialist books to target your specific weaknesses. You have everything you need. Or do you? What if I told you that even with this perfect arsenal of books, the majority of students will still fail to reach their target score? It's because they're missing the single most important element of all. It's not a book. It's the system, the framework that connects all of these resources into a coherent, unstoppable study plan. And that is the final piece of the puzzle. It's the difference between having a pile of the world's best ingredients and having a Michelin star recipe. You can have the Wagyu beef and the truffle oil, but without the recipe, the system, you're just going to make a very expensive, very disappointing hamburger. The SAT is no different. Your 1600 recipe, your framework for success, is built on 4 distinct phases. Get these right and the score will follow. The first phase is the diagnostic. This is non-negotiable. Before you open a single prep book, before you read a single chapter, you must take a full-timed official practice test from the College Board's Blue Book. Why? Because you cannot get to your destination if you don't know where you're starting from. This isn't about feeling good or bad about your initial score. That number is irrelevant. Its only purpose is to give you data. This first test is your treasure map. It shows you exactly where the gold is buried and where the traps are. You're not just looking at the score. You're looking at the patterns. Did you run out of time on the reading section? Did you miss a bunch of questions on punctuation rules? Did you completely forget how to handle quadratic equations? This diagnostic test tells you precisely where your time is best spent. Studying without a diagnostic is like a doctor prescribing medicine without a diagnosis. It's malpractice. Once you have your map, you enter phase 2. The targeted learning. This is where those books we talked about finally come into play. But you are not going to read them cover to cover. That is the single biggest waste of time in SAT prep. Instead, you use your diagnostic results to guide you. You struggled with grammar rules? You go directly to the corresponding chapters in Erica Meltzer's grammar book. You don't read the parts you already know. You attack your weaknesses. You were lost on the data interpretation questions in the math section? You open up the College Panda and live in those chapters for a week. This phase is about surgical strikes. You are filling the specific gaps in your knowledge that the diagnostic test revealed. You're not boiling the ocean. You're patching the holes in your boat. For every concept, you read the chapter, you do the end-of-chapter drills, and you don't move on until you understand the why behind the right answer, not just the what. This is the heavy lifting. It's the foundation upon which everything else is built. After you've spent a few weeks surgically targeting your weaknesses, you move into phase 3, the practice and integration. Knowledge is useless if you can't apply it under pressure. This is where you transition from learning concepts in isolation to using them in a mixed, timed environment. This is where resources like Khan Academy and UWorld become invaluable. You're not just doing random problems. You're doing deliberate practice. You just learned about circle theorems from College Panda? Now you go to Khan Academy and drill 20 circle theorem problems in a row until the process is second nature. You just mastered comma splices with Erica Meltzer? You do a targeted UWorld quiz on only punctuation questions. You are forging the neural pathways, making the retrieval of this information automatic. And critically, at the end of each week in this phase, you take another full-time practice test from the Blue Book. This measures your progress. It tells you if your targeted learning is working, and it reveals new, more subtle weaknesses you need to address. This cycle of learn, practice, test, repeat is the engine of score improvement. But the engine is useless without a steering wheel. And that brings us to the final and most important phase of all. The phase that separates the 1400s from the 1550s. Phase 4. The deep review. Anyone can take a practice test. But top scorers don't just take the test. They autopsy it. After every single practice test, you must block out at least 3 to 4 hours for a deep review. This is where you create what's called an error log. It's a simple spreadsheet, but it's the most powerful tool in your arsenal. For every single question you got wrong, and every question you guessed on and got right, you log it. You write down the question number, the question type, and then the 3 most important columns, 1. Why I got it wrong. Be brutally honest. Was it a careless mistake? Did you misread the question? Was it a content gap where you just didn't know the material? Or was it a timing issue where you rushed? 2. What the correct answer is and why. You need to write out, in your own words, the logic that leads to the right answer. Don't just look at it and say, oh, okay. Explain it to yourself as if you were teaching it to someone else. And 3, the most critical column. What I will do differently next time. This is where you create a concrete, actionable plan. If it was a careless error, your action is, I will slow down and double-check my work on this question type. If it was a content gap, your action is, I will go back to Chapter 7 of the College Panda book and redo the drills. This process is painful. It's tedious. And it is the single greatest driver of score growth, period. You are systematically turning every mistake into a future point. So what does this look like in a given week? It's a rhythm. Imagine this. On Monday, you focus on reading. You use your error log to identify that you struggle with command of evidence questions. So you spend 90 minutes in the Erica Meltzer reading book, mastering that chapter and doing targeted drills. On Tuesday, you do the same for writing and language, maybe focusing on modifier placement. Wednesday is math day, tackling those polynomial function problems you keep missing. Thursday is a mixed review day, using Khan Academy or UWorld to practice all the concepts you've learned this week in a time setting. Friday, you rest. You let your brain consolidate the information. Then Saturday morning, it's game day. You take a full-timed practice test under realistic conditions. No phone, no breaks, just you and the clock. And Sunday? Sunday is deep review day. You spend the afternoon with your error log, analyzing every mistake, understanding your patterns, and building your study plan for the following week. That is the system. It's a virtuous cycle. Diagnose your weaknesses, learn the underlying concepts, practice applying them under pressure, and deeply review your mistakes to start the cycle over again, smarter and stronger than before. The books are just the tools. But this system, this framework, is how you build the house. The SAT is not just a test of your knowledge of algebra or grammar. It's a test of your discipline, your resilience, and your ability to create and follow a system. The skills you learn in this process, how to identify a weakness, seek out the knowledge to fix it, practice it until it's perfect, and learn from your failures. Those skills will serve you far more in college and in life than your ability to find the hypotenuse of a right triangle. This isn't just about getting a score. This is about proving to yourself that you can take on a difficult, complex challenge and conquer it through intelligence, strategy, and sheer force of will. You have the tools. You now have the recipe. Go cook.